What's up guys, today I'm going to be going over the best builds for the expert role tier in the portal, and that is the range of 200 power to 300 power, where I expect most players to be right now. And in this video, we'll be going over one build for each character that works really well in this role tier. I'm going to be making a series of videos like this, starting off with expert, moving over to master, and finally grandmaster. Then I'll probably hop over to Kepler for at least mythic, maybe even fabled also. And in these videos, I will not repeat any builds, but that doesn't mean these builds just randomly stop working when you enter the next role tier, or vice versa. The ones from GM will definitely work here, and expert ones won't just magically stop working in master. But I'm going to try to focus them into this level of gameplay. So in expert, for example, you don't have champions yet, so it's going to be mostly ad clear and a final boss at the end. While when you move over to master, there's going to be champions, so we need to stun them and kill them. And if you play solo ops, you're going to have to do all that stuff by yourself. So these builds are then focused around things like that are different between all the role tiers. And along with this series, I'm going to be making a series of videos about the best builds for each stat, so each armor archetype. And when we get to those, there might be some overlap of builds that are in these videos along with those videos, but that's going to be like 10 or 11 builds per character. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of overlap. If the build's the best, it's just the best. So I'm not going to like try to go my way to dodge and make different builds. If it's the best, it's just truly the best. So jumping into my first video of this with the expert role tier. Once again, 200 to 300 power. Starting off on Hunter. I'm actually going to be making a build with the new exotic armor piece, the Morai. I think that's how I pronounce it. Feel free to flame me. And this will be all about our threaded spike on Strand, where they now bounce to tangles, which makes it so they can also now detonate tangles. And when you return and catch the threaded spike, it will actually bring the tangle along with it. So you can actually get like 2 tangles up and going per tangle. And the direction we're going to take this build is with the whirling maelstrom, which is all about like those Beyblades, where when you destroy the tangle itself, it will kind of start spinning and do a lot of damage and just kind of roam around towards targets and unravel them. So the gameplay loop of this build is to create a tangle, use your threaded spike to destroy it. Now return a tangle to your hand also, and then you just have 2 of these Beyblades roaming the map every like 15 seconds. And in these videos, I'll be linking all the dim links down below, but just quickly going over what I'm using. Obviously, the threaded spike, I have grapple. Our second aspect is on the threaded scepter for the clone when we dodge. Then we have Gamer's Dodge to get our melee back if we, for whatever reason, don't get full energy. But with this build, you're going to be getting your full melee back most of the time, as long as you're hitting like 2 or 3 leans. Then look at our fragments. We have Fury, Warding, Transmutation, and Propagation. And these are all about getting our Wolf of Mail, getting our melee back, creating more tangles, and getting unraveling rounds for our Strand weapons. And with that, we're going to be using a Strand primary. My go-to is the new SMG, because it has proximity power to give us more melee stats when we get final blows while surrounded. With that, I have the perk surrounded. Makes a lot of sense. And then from there, you can really use wherever you want, or really whatever Strand primary you want. And the stats we want to focus into this build is at least 100 melee. Going higher than that is good, but not necessary. It will make our melee do more damage, but we really care about just the regen. And then from there, I would kind of balance a lot of stats. The second most important, in my opinion, is on the health, because this build has no built-in healing. All we have is the R from Wolf and Mail, so getting the health stat as high as possible to get more health when we pick up orbs is going to be pretty important. So using a brawler stat that has both melee and health makes a lot of sense. And then from there, I would try to spec into super, maybe even class, and weapons. Then for our mods, it's a lot of just the basic stuff, orb creation and melee kickstarts. Check out the link if you want to see even more. And right now we have a lot of stuff in the artifact helping us. We have Shield Crush, we have Elemental Overdrive, we have Threaded Blast, we have Elemental Coalescence to create even more tangles. We have Refreshed Threads to help get our abilities back. We really just have a lot from the artifact helping us out. Even Tightly Woven to boost up our class ability and grenade stats while we have Woven Mail. But overall, this build is one of the most fun builds in the entire game once you get it up and going in the right situation. The right situation for this build is when you're going to be in an area for a little while. Really have spawns at the same location over and over, and once you get it going, it's just so much fun. You have so many of these spinning strand tangle balls that are just doing everything for you, and you're just constantly throwing your melee, getting it back in safe, throwing it again, getting more and more tangles, and it's just really fun. Definitely try it out. Now moving over to the Titan build. This will be one of the best Titan accurate builds still in the game. It was really popular last season, at least it was the thing I used all the time. And that's just going to be the point contact cannon brace arc melee build, all about the thunderclap. So starting off, we obviously have knockout to increase our melee damage and give health back when we get defeats with our melee. And then our aspect is Storm's Keep for the bolt charge behind barricades. And the whole loop is just to use your melee. And with point contact, you get most of your melee back as long as you're killing a few things. And then you use your Storm's Keep barricade for high targets and really get that bolt charge going. And for this, the weapon I like to use is going to be a arc special weapon with Rolling Storm to really chain up the bolt charges. And the best one is Cycle Pump, and is the one I like to use because I have Pugilist plus Rolling Storm. Good for everything in this build. And the reason I like that a lot is because I have Spark of Beacons. When I'm amplified, my arc special final blows will create a blinding explosion, and my other fragments are going to be resistance for DR, frequency to double the amount of bolt charges we get, and ions just to create ionic traces to help get all of our abilities back. Then we obviously have Thunderclap, and whatever grenade you want. There's no champions in this world tier, so you can use something like Pulse or even Storm. Then once again, all our mods are pretty straightforward. Orb generation from our weapons and our melee, along with a melee kickstart. Then I use Focusing Strike to get our class ability back on melee damage, whatever resist and generation mod you want in your chest. Then Invigoration and Absolution, and finally a Powerful Attraction, Distribution, and Reaper. And this isn't getting too much help from the artifact this season. Maybe like Elemental Coalescence to create more traces. Shield Crush will help us get our grenade back faster and make it do a little more damage. You can use Elemental Overdrive to buff up our arc special, but there's not too much in the artifact really changing it. But overall, this build is still absolutely amazing. As you see with the way all ability region scales with the ability stats. So for example, melee in this build, which we want 200 of, you get your melee back just so fast, even faster than you did previously with this build, where if you're getting like just a handful of kills, you're almost guaranteed to get your full melee back. So the stats I would focus for this build is 200 melee for sure, so a full set of Brawler, which is going to spec you into melee, which isn't the worst in a close range build. And then from there, I would maybe try to get super or weapons. But overall, this build is by far one of the best accurate builds in the game, just constantly chaining this melee that does a lot of damage and just deletes and jolts everything nearby. And then when you get up to the boss or a high target, you have your Cycle Pump or whatever arc special you want with the Bolt Charge Barricade. So definitely try that one out. And finally, moving over to Warlock. This one's be a little bit more fun and actually works incredibly well. So this was a popular build a season or two ago when it first came out, and that's gonna be the Rhymecoat Remnant, the exotic chess piece all about the Bleak Watcher stasis turret. And for this, we're gonna be playing on Prismatic, obviously with Bleak Watcher, and then Feed the Void for Devour. And then we're gonna be using a healing grenade because we're not actually gonna be using the grenade, and this is the fastest recharge. And you know, if you need healing, not too bad. Then Arcane Needle for the 3 charges just to proc Devour. I have a Phoenix Dive, and the whole point of this build is to get Devour going and just constantly throw down your Bleak Watcher, which now with the exotic chest piece, create a bunch of stasis crystals. So I can create 2 sets of 4 twice during the duration, and make it so all of your weapons apply slow stacks. So it's all about freezing, slowing, shattering, and just dominating and controlling a room. And with this build, you'll be getting your grenade like very quickly, right? And look at our fragments. We have Ruin to increase the range and damage of shattering. Then we have Balance to get our abilities back a little bit quicker. Devotion to help get our Transcendence. Then I have Command to reload all of our weapons when we freeze a target. And the weapons for this build are important, so I've been playing with the new hand cannon, the Graviton Spike, the exotic, and I might be making a video about this weapon down the road. But with it having the stasis mode, another way to freeze and shatter things, pretty good. Or you could run with the old classic, the one I used with this build all the time, which is Icebreaker. Icebreaker, when you get a precision final blow or shatter a frozen target, everything will be frozen with this build, it'll cause the ignition. And so it works really, really well as like a 1-2 hit combo. You freeze a bunch of stuff, shoot one of them, and then they shatter and ignite. And not only is that great for Aclear, it's also really good for single target damage. So it's gonna work for the mini bosses and the final bosses of your portal activities. And then from there, looking at our mods, once again, just a lot of the classic stuff. Orb generation and finders. Then we have a grenade kickstart and a loader. Then once again, resist and generation mod. I have an absolution and a scavenger. And then finally, kind of like the classic distribution, bomber, reaper, powerful attraction, whatever you want on your class item. And the whole point of this build is to just have like really, really good AoE add control and clear at the same time, while still having really good single target damage with all these shattering and ignitions from Icebreaker. And for this build, the stats aren't too important. Obviously, you want 100 grenade just for the recharge rate. Going higher than that is pointless because your grenade doesn't really do damage. It does scale the damage of the turret, but I mean, it goes from like 5 to 6, not that big a deal. Then I would spec into super, and my super choice is Song of Flame. Song of Flame is crazy, so definitely try to bump that up as much as you can. Then I throw in the rest into weapons, and if you get some melee, some class, it's not that big a deal. The only thing I stick away from is health because we have Devour. So yeah, those are my 3 builds, one for each character that I think are the best for the expert world tier. And obviously there's all kinds of builds that you'll be more than fine to play in this tier. But these are 3 of my favorite that I use along the way. And they're mainly focused around just Aclear while having like an option for boss damage. Anyways, let me know what you've been rocking in the expert world tier down below. Like usual, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.